As you can see behind me, if while on the podcast, it's getting ever dark here in Bergamo. About a bit over 24 hours ago, Tadej Pogačar took his third monument. Very impressive, even cramping up. We talked about it over on the recap on the second day and extra. But I mean, yeah, Tadej Pogačar winning third in a row, like not really something that happens every year. But the big question always is with these kind of monuments, is he going to be able to rival the greats? Is he going to be able to basically win the ones he's remaining of Paris and Milan San Remo? He showed he won Ronde van Vlaanderen this year. 2021, he won Liège, Bastogne Liège, but he's just missing those two. He is so different from the traditional Tour de France rider we've had of the 2000s, 2010s. And yeah, what is your 2 cents on this? Will we see him complete his monument palette of 2000 in 2024?
Roubaix is the one I just think is so hard for him to get. We saw on at the couple stage at the 2022 Tour de France, he certainly could be up there in contention. It's just such a huge risk with the calendar he has focusing on the Tour de France. We saw that even this year at Liège, Bastogne Liège, the fact that he was focusing on the classics, then with that crash, put his Tour de France preparation at risk. If there was a year where he was like, you know what, I'm going to do something else, maybe not focus on the Tour de France as much, then maybe he could go to Roubaix and try to win that one. But just with the risk of crashes and the physiological damage that can come from Paris, I think that one's just going to be almost too hard to win. And also, not many people win it on debut. I know Sonny Colbrelli did in the COVID one in 2021, but that's relatively rare. You'd probably have to do it maybe once or twice beforehand before realize. I mean, I say that he came top five in his debut Ronde van Vlaanderen, and he is Tadej Pogačar. Maybe he does just jump straight into it and contend for the win. But for him to do it maybe 2, 3 seasons before winning it, it's a big sacrifice on his calendar and the risk factor of competing in that race. And then with San Remo, I mean, we've seen him try. He's been up there in lightning hot form last year, in particular in 2022, after winning Strada Bianca, like he was in incredible form, and it just didn't happen for him. He attacked, but I just don't think the route is very. It just doesn't quite suit Pogacar. He needs to sort of get rid of everybody else before the end. He could certainly do that, but the Cipressa is no sort of. It's no Alp. It's no Passo di Ganda like we saw in Lombardia. It's short, and we've seen sprinters and Van der Poels and Van Aerts able to hold on. If Pogacar can get rid of them and the stars align, 100% he could win that, or he goes into a sort of reduced sprint with the Alaphilippe Alaphilippe of old. But like that kind of type of rider who's a puncher that I think Pogacar can out sprint, then maybe it'll all work out. But I just think these are the two hardest ones for him to win. But Roubaix, in terms of that risk, really just makes it unattractive to believe that the five monuments is legitimately a target of his.
I do agree with that. I'm trying to think of the two, which do I see Pogacar winning first? I don't really know. MSR's just like you say, like it's just a bit of a lottery. Like it's just a bit of a risk. Like they're just kind of like you spin a wheel and maybe you do an attack and it works. Maybe you like Van der Poel attacked this year and it worked. Like he just went solo. What if that was Pogacar? Like he could in theory, I think, do something similar to what Van der Poel did this year, to what Mohoric has done in 2021 or whatever. I think it could happen. Um, Roubaix, I think, is going to take time, like Ewan says. I think he needs to actually do it, but for that, he needs to put the tour aside. But UAE surely won't allow that for now because Pogacar is the guy for the tour. Like he's their best chance. Guys like Ayuso need time, I think. So whether it'll be like they essentially need Ayuso to come up to a level where he's competitive with Vingegaard, where Pogacar is then let free to be allowed to do a bit more of a risky spring classics campaign. I think that's where it will happen. So I think it's maybe a matter of time. It honestly wouldn't surprise me if Pogacar did win Roubaix. I think of all the riders in the peloton, Pogacar is most likely to be the person who wins all five. But I just don't think it's going to happen in the next 2 years. Maybe maybe he reforms himself. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he'd like, so I'm fed up being a GC rider now. I'm going to go full classics. Gets to like, 20, 28 or something, and Pogacar's just now a full-blown classics star, basically. It's like he's just sacked off the tour. Yeah, I think it's possible that he can do it, but yeah, it's just going to take, I just think, a little bit of time. He's just going to keep going for MSR, I think. I think it could fall his way just one time. You never know. And Roubaix, I think he's just got to keep. I think he's actually got to do it. But to do that, you've got to let him loose.
I mean, Nibali's won Milan San Remo. We got to
Yeah,
believe that that Pogačar could. But I think just at the moment there are so many riders with such like excellent kicks who can still climb, like your Van der Poels, like your Van Aerts, but they're also three years older than Pogačar. They're going to start aging.
But then Arnaud Delis is coming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Arnaud Delis of the world, your insert big wonder kid names, who are also sort of joining the frame. But yeah, it wouldn't be shocking if he did win both, like at this point I feel like nothing is really shocking me about Pogačar. But if he were to sew all five monuments up, would that sort of set him out as the best rider, the second best rider in the history of professional cycling behind Eddy Merckx?
He still needs the five Tour de France, I think, and he hasn't won the Giro or the Vuelta. Like Bernard Hinault famously one time he just got off his bike at Paris Roubaix. He couldn't be bothered to win it, but he's won it before. He hasn't won a Worlds either, so there's a lot of things he still needs to pick up.
Okay, yeah, fair. Maybe that's just recency bias.
Greg LeMond as well. He still hasn't got three, so
yeah, I think he will win a Giro, but I mean, that's a different discussion. That's not about the five monuments.
Do you actually think he's going to win Paris Roubaix? He has never done Paris Roubaix, so
in that case, I'm just going to say no, because he is also a Grand Tour contender, and Grand Tour contenders just don't do Roubaix.
It's true.
And sometimes they do Rondo. We see Nibali, Valverde, Balde. They've all done sort of Rondo in the past. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But like in terms of, it wasn't like abnormal for him to do Rondo. It would be abnormal if he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to Roubaix." Grand Tour contenders just don't do that. I'm not accepting Bradley Wiggins as an answer.
Geraint Thomas?
That was before his Grand Tour transition, though. Maybe Pog has the reverse transition where he began life as a Grand Tour contender.
That's the Wiggins.
Yeah, true. But as starting life as a Grand Tour contender, then going into the classics. Wiggins got a top 10 in Roubaix. He was hardly Fabian Cancellara. Whereas Pogačar is a guy he probably could if he wanted to. And we saw that at the cobble stage, a couple of years back. He was right up there, really sort of aggressively riding. But those level of cobblestones weren't quite the Carrefour de Labras and the Tour d'Arenbergs of the world. Do you even have a squad strong enough to support him in Roubaix? Let's think about it that way as well. They've just lost Matteo Trentin.
Pollitt's back. Oh, back. He's signed with them.
Yeah, but Pollitt's spring classics results haven't really been showing that much over the past 2 years.
I think he'll do it, personally. I think that Pogačar will win a Roubaix. If he targets it, I think he can do it. Because I think we're moving into a period in cycling where there's a lot of riders who aren't jack of all trades. They're sort of 80 kg, like cobbled classic guy is sort of becoming less prevalent in the peloton. You're seeing a lot more of these Pogačar-esque riders who are like 70-ish kilograms, and they sort of do it all. So I mean, you're going to reach a point where you might have a very similar level of sort of top-level rider who all have quite similar characteristics. And I think at that point, I think Pogačar could do it, because I can't think of any world-class beating cobble guys coming up. Maybe that Per Strand Hagenens. I don't know. Maybe he'll be the kryptonite to Pogačar in the future. I don't know. But I honestly think that Pogačar, if he's allowed to target it, I reckon he could win Roubaix. I really think he can.
He's also like a bit of like a cycling nerd. Like he loves the sport, and
Yeah.
I think he has a genuine I hate the word respect. I think we almost like there's almost like a sort of fetish over the word respect in cycling, but like he really does respect the history of the sport and like all the sort of the tradition and so forth. I think he will probably just be like, you know what, I kind of want to go for it. I want to at least try to get all five. And if Jonas does just become so unassailable and we have this huge sort of gulf between the two that we saw emerging this year, that there is a bit of a chasm between the two at the Tour de France, then Pog could have more scope to be risky with his calendar, especially if you have, as you say, Patrick, like now you saw Isaac Del Toro. I had sort of at the highest level to compete for the Tour de France.
I mean, yeah, he was talking about racing at Flanders. He just enjoyed the heritage, etc. And I mean, link that to Froome, that famously didn't know what Liège-Bastogne-Liège was. So, yeah, make of that.
And Jonas, who didn't know what color the leader's jersey was.
Yeah.
Tirreno Adriatico.
Yeah, okay, that was pretty bad.